What is going on, you guys? It's Iveth. I'm back with another video. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a different video. We're going to be talking about reasons why you should not be a nurse. And this is a video that needs to be made because I'm always like, oh, nursing is so great. You can do this, and that. Like, my brother's a nurse, and this is also... But there's also real things that we need to be talking about, and it needs to be made public. And I know I'm not the only one that has made this sort of video, but I feel like as a nursing community, I think it's like a really big thing to talk about. A lot of people that will go into nursing for the wrong reasons, and I'm telling you that these reasons are wrong reasons to go into nursing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. If you see me looking down, it's because I have everything written down and I don't want to lose track of time. So I don't want to make this video too long for you guys. And so let's get right into the video. So the first reason why you should not be a nurse is if you hate people, if you're not social, etc. If you're antisocial, all of that stuff. You guys, nursing is all about communication. It's you and the patient. Most of the time the doctor's like running around doing other orders, fulfilling other things. Like, you're mostly the one that's gonna be one-on-one with the patient, and you need to love talking to them because they're gonna love to talk to you. And I know that I'm not a nurse yet. I haven't officially like gone into the field as a nurse, but I've seen enough in the ER from nurses and from just like clinical based stuff to know that you gotta communicate. Like, it's all about communication. There's a whole class about it in nursing school. So if you don't like communicating with people, if you're really shy and just don't like to deal with people and their needs, this is not the career for you. Okay, so the next thing, or the next reason why you should not be a nurse is if you don't like being on your feet for long hours, or like a job that requires you to do a lot of running around and stuff. If you like your desk job and everything is nice and quiet and things like that, this is not the job for you. For me personally, if a job is not hustle and bustle, if I'm not running around sweating, it doesn't go by fast enough. I can't stand desk jobs. I have too much energy. I'm way too hyper for desk jobs. But some people are not like that. So if you're thinking about nursing and you're very much like in your own space and love to be like in a calm environment while you're working, nursing is definitely not for you. So the third reason that you should not go into nursing is if you lack compassion for other situations, or you're like, you don't put other people's needs before yours. This is not the career for you. This is something that I kind of had to learn because I grew up as an only child, and so everything was just kind of like done for me. But I learned very quickly that I'm so compassionate with other people's situations. Like, while I was in clinical and PACU and the OR, I was very much just like willing to throw myself like in front of a bus for these patients because like I was very sensitive to their situation. Many of these procedures that I got to see were women that have lost their children, that they needed someone there to comfort them, and I felt so much fulfillment being that person there to comfort them. I have so much compassion for people in their situations. Like, you have to understand that for you it's a typical day in the hospital, but for them this is like, oh my god, I'm in the hospital. Like, this is like not a typical day for them. They're going through a lot, and so you need to be compassionate for these patients. Another reason that you shouldn't go into nursing is if you're not detail oriented. I feel like detail orientation is everything in nursing. I think that a patient could spiral just based off of one little detail that you missed. For example, like clamping a tube on a chest tube. That is something as simple as forgetting to unclamp a chest tube. Like, it can spiral your patient out of control, like their condition. So I think that being detail oriented, making sure that the patient is totally okay in every single aspect, is huge for nurses, and I think that that's like a really big thing to consider. Fifth reason why you should not be a nurse is if you're not a team player. Too many times I'm reading and seeing on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube of CNAs or like nursing assistants, PCTs, like the patient care techs, just complaining that nurses are not helping them. And I think that that's absurd. I think that everyone starts somewhere, and eventually these PCTs, CNAs maybe want to be nurses, and they're like, dang, do I really want to be a nurse if this is how they're treating people? Like, this is not how you should treat your fellow coworkers. Nursing assistants are there to help you, but not to do your job for you. I think that like everyone has to wipe booty in their lifetime. Everyone's got to deal with like bathing the patient, performing oral care. Like, they teach you things in fundamentals because it is also your job. I cannot stand like professionals that think that, oh, just because I'm a nurse or I'm an RN, I'm never gonna like have to perform any patient care, like daily need patient care stuff, because that's the CNA's job. No, the CNA is there to help you do those things, but they're not there to do everything for you. There's only so much that a CNA or a PCT can do, because like there's always a short staffing issue. That's always been the excuse. Oh, I don't have time because I need to administer all of these medications to these patients. But you're also not taking into account that these nursing assistants also have lots of bedpans to change, lots of patients to bathe, like they have to collect vitals for other nurses. There's other things. They are also just as busy as you. So just be considerate, be a team player, don't brush this off. And if that's what you're planning to do, when you become a nurse, don't do it. The sixth reason why you shouldn't be a nurse is if you're in it for the money. If you're in it just for the money, you're gonna have quite a rude awakening, because there is so much more to it than just the money. Yes, it's good money. Yes, it's stable. Yes, like there's many benefits to being a nurse, but there's also like so much work, and obviously everything else that I've said. Like, you have to be compassionate, you have to be on top of your game. There's gruesome things that you're gonna have to deal with. There's like a huge emotional aspect that comes with being a nurse. Like, pay will not compensate for absolutely everything, and I think that's like a huge thing to let people know, that if you're going in this just because of the money, you're in for a huge rude awakening. So another reason along the lines of money is having a huge social media platform. Like, thinking that you can just get on YouTube and like make boatloads of money just by being a nurse. I think that that's like a huge new problem now with Gen Z and millennials, like picking up a camera and like doing everything. And it's not to say that like don't do it. Like, if you already have a passion for nursing and nursing school and like sharing what you've been through, then obviously pick up a camera and do it. I mean, I'm doing it. But it took a lot for me to get to this point. I'm also I'm shy on camera, and that doesn't come off really a ton. I think I've like grown to like talking to the camera a little bit more. But if the sole reason why you're going into nursing is to sit in front of a camera and do YouTube, or to like make a huge platform on Instagram, this is not for you, because there's so much more to nursing. And I think that I learned that quite quickly. YouTube was not in my plans, you guys, when I decided to become a nurse. It wasn't in my plans at all. You can ask anyone, ask my friends, my parents, my husband. This is something that kind of came later, because I have friends that do influencer stuff, and I was like, you know what, this is kind of something that I can take off as a hobby, something that I can do once I graduate. Maybe it'll be fun. I always like to keep myself busy, so again, if it's the sole reason why you're doing this is to be on YouTube, I don't recommend it. YouTube itself is tons of work. Imagine like it's just like working and doing YouTube at the same time, and making YouTube the sole reason that you're doing this. I don't recommend it. Another reason why you shouldn't go into nursing is if like someone's pressuring you to be a nurse. Your family is pressuring you to go into medicine because they went into medicine, or you have like a family member and they're a nurse, and the only reason why you're being a nurse is because they're a nurse. I don't think that's a really good reason to be a nurse, because at the end of the day, your brother, sister, your mom, dad, they're not going to be putting in those study hours. They're not going to be putting in those hours at the hospital. They're not going to be going through everything that nurses are going through right now, especially in a pandemic where like nurses are required to be vaccinated and they're getting fired if they're not being vaccinated. There's so much going on in the nursing world right now that if like the sole reason that you're doing this is to make someone else proud and not yourself proud, that's a big problem. And I think that you should really sit down with yourself and ask yourself, why is it that I'm doing this? Like, am I really doing this for me? And you really want to pick a career that's like for you, and that it's gonna change your life and it's gonna make you happy. So just sit down with yourself, write a pros and cons list, and just go through the motions. Find your passion. And if your passion is nursing, good for you. Get right into it. I totally recommend. The ninth thing that you should know before you go into nursing is that if you're squeamish, this is not the career for you. I have seen quite a few things in the ER before I considered nursing, and as well as in the OR and the PACU. There are a lot of things that you're gonna see, and if you are scared of blood, urine, secretions coming out of your mouth, eyeballs, ears, toes, fingers, any body part, this is not the career for you. You kind of have to keep it together. I will say, you can't be like totally not squeamish. There's always gonna be something that like triggers you. For me, it's smells. I'm very iffy about smells, but there are things to get around that, so don't worry. It'll all be okay. You will get used to it. It's a lot going on. And the final reason that you should not become a nurse is if you have a whole attitude when people are rude to you. I have heard it so many times. I know that patients are very rude sometimes, some of them are very sweet, but again, you're gonna come across so many personalities. I talked about this in my other video when I was describing in the ER about dealing with personalities with coworkers and doctors, and the same goes for patients. And not every patient that you're gonna meet is gonna be sweet little old lady like that wants to knit you a sweater. It's not gonna happen, and you gotta come into terms with that. And if you're not like strong enough to handle people being rude to you, then this is not the career for you. I think that I don't come off as a rude person when people are rude to me. I come off as a sad person when people are rude to me. I know that that's something that I'm gonna have to work on later on. I've never had a patient really be rude to me, like really be rude to me, but I know that it's something that I'm gonna encounter. So I have to work on letting it just like roll off my back and not letting it get to me, because I know that they're going through a really stressful situation, and right now I am the target of whatever stressful situation they're going through. But don't be rude. Don't be rude back. You want to try and de-escalate the situation as much as you can, but if you're like, oh, well, this person called me a fool and this person is yelling at me because I didn't bring them their water on time, and you're being rude to them, it's not going to de-escalate anything. The situation's only going to get worse. So that's a reason not to go into nursing. If you're not willing to put your pride and your attitude aside, this is not for you. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below to enter the giveaway. I will be announcing the giveaway winner soon. I'm gonna go ahead and close out this video. If you guys have any suggestions for future videos, please let me know. I am so open to suggestions. I love it when you guys DM me questions. I love it when you guys comment questions and let me know how I'm doing. I wish you guys the best of luck in your future endeavors, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.